absolutely ridiculous. They'll believe anything. They'll believe anything. Maybe. Whose responsibility is it to teach your kids manners? Now, everybody sends their kids to school, and we understand why kids have got to learn how to function in their lives. Well, what about manners? What about morals? What about values? Whose job is it to teach kids? Because apparently, someone has decided how much time they think kids should spend playing on the swings in Taiwan. So we're going to get into this as well as a few other topics, and I've got really good news, which is that our channel this week finally got going. So Abby, just really wanted to say,
cheers.
Cheers to you, because this has been like
On track.
a long journey. I mean, it's taken us about 1.5 years to get this channel going.
Right.
And like we talked about last week, right, there's an iceberg. You see the top, you see this video, but the amount of work it's taken to get to this point, it's been a lot. So
Figure out
thank
all
you,
those
Abby.
documents.
I've enjoyed the journey. It's been good fun. And
It's my pleasure to join your
our podcast, right? So we're doing it. And today we're also trying something new. I'm sure you can see the angle looks different because we have our first guest, someone I've really become very fond of, someone whose opinion I really value, and I think can definitely add some nuance and some really good opinions to our discussion. So welcome, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, everybody.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so do you want to give us a little bit of an introduction as to who you are? And
Yep. Hi. My name's Steven. I'm a father with 2 kids.
yeah, fantastic.
And my daughter is 10, and my son is 3.
Okay. I think you could probably get a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds
So-
a bit better.
It's better.
Yeah? Okay. Right. Anything else you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah. I think it's a very good time. I can talk to you, to talk to everybody, and it's my pleasure.
Your pleasure to be here. Well, it's definitely our pleasure to have you. So,
Yeah, because I'm the first guest.
Yes, you are. You are our first guest, right?
Yeah.
And more than that, I mean, it's raining outside and it's cold and it's a Saturday afternoon. So really, you're giving us your time. As you said, you're a family man. So we really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
and
It's
I'm
like a
thinking-
milestone for
I'm thinking about that. Why I'm the first guest?
Why? I mean, why not? Yeah.
Because
As I said, I think that I've talked to you a lot, over the years, and I've always enjoyed, and whenever we've had a session, because actually Stephen is one of my clients in my normal business, and every time we discuss things, I'm always saying, well, I wish the cameras were on, because we've had some really, really good discussions, and I feel that Stephen's really added a lot of, as I said, nuance to a lot of discussions I've had with him. So hopefully we can get into all of that today.
I thought maybe I'm the person who has no idea.
Well,
I think it fits our channels.
how did he know? Did you tell him?
To what?
Did you tell him we thought he's the no idea guy? Yeah, you got a good guess there. I'm very impressed, right? But anyway, let's get into this. So, Abby, Stephen, what do you guys think about this? I know we've all heard this news about, maybe we should just give a little bit of context. So, Steve, you know about the timer thing at the parks. You want to tell us about that?
Actually, no, because the park nearby my home, there are no timers.
I see. Well, they are doing it at the park near my house. So just to give people context, this week, I think it was this week or in the last week or two, they've started putting timer boxes on the swings in the park and basically telling people that they have 3 minutes to swing and then they've got to get off. And from what I've read, it seems like they're trying to help kids learn to share and not be selfish, which is why in the beginning I said, whose job is it to teach your kids this? So, yeah, what do you think, Abby?
Yeah, I know because lots of people complain about the swing is not enough for children to play because it's a popular equipment, and some kids when they're going on the swing, it's because it's really interesting. They won't leave the swing, so other children don't know how to negotiate. So they just wait there for a really long time. Okay, and sometimes the parent of the waiting children don't know how to do, because when you talk to the children who is playing, and he said, no, I still want to play. And it's hard for the adult to get the kids off.
I see.
So they think if we have a timer, so it like as authority help us to create a rule, and everyone should follow the rule. So the responsibility is like from the third authority, not from the parents or the children.
I see. So why do you think we have this new problem? Like, I mean, this has never happened before in human history. Why is this such a new issue? And it's happening in Taiwan.
I mean, like, why?
Yeah, I mean,
people
this
ask
has
for
never happened
we need
before.
to be be ruled.
Yeah, because
Our
I mean,
behavior needs to be ruled.
don't you guys know what happens in other countries, right? I mean, in other countries, every child has their own swing.
Okay.
Every single child, the government gives you a swing. So, yeah, I'm just messing with you guys. No, but this is the point. Is
okay.
it's not a new problem, right?
Yeah. You couldn't offer every children a swing, or it's like the children need to how to negotiate.
So why don't we ask someone who has kids, Steve? I mean, have you taken your daughter to the park? And remember to get close to the mic.
Yeah. I think I take my children to parks every single week.
All right. And shame they never get to use the swings.
But I don't think it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From my experience, I think when a child go to play the swim, every time I think it will take 1 to 2 minutes.
You mean they will not take too long?
No, they will not take too long.
Why do they do that? I mean, it's
Because
so strange, right? They're not selfish. Why not?
It's not selfish, because I think 1 minute, 2 minutes for them is enough.
I see. So you mean they managed to do this by themselves, right?
So if the timer set up at 3 minutes or 5 minutes, I think it's too long for kids.
I see.
Okay.
So from what Abby said, it seems like there might be a few kids who abuse the system. So my question there is that new? I mean, is this just happening now? Have there never been kids who took too long or bullied or used something more? I don't think so.
I think it happened when I was young. When I go to the park, when I went to the park, I still need to online for waiting for the swing, but it didn't take too much longer. Or if really a long line, we will just find out another toy or another equipment to play, or you just talk to the kids. Hey, could you share to us?
Sure. Now this really makes me think, because, when I look at the world today, just as a personal observation, I see that many people struggle, especially young people, to deal with conflict.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I see a lot of kids these days who battle. And if you think about it, a lot of time is spent online. If you have a problem with someone online, you can just unfriend or block them. But that isn't really a good strategy, because you'll just be lonely for the rest of your life. So as a kid, where do you learn these lessons? Where do you learn how to share? That was the question I asked right at the beginning, right? I mean, should this be from the school? Should this be from the parents? Or is this the government's job?
I think it's be their parent, their family, or themselves, or and where should they learn these things, this manner, this social behavior? I think it's from life, not only on the school, but on the family life, or just every time. It's like a journey.
Sure. So basically, I think what you're saying is it's a combination of things, right? I mean, it's your parents, hopefully. Steve, as I'm sure you do, you spend some time, you talk with your kids, and you tell them what you believe is the right way. But then they go into the world and they have opportunities to test that. And when they test it, they might have a positive, they might have a negative reaction. And in so doing, they learn by doing. But we haven't said anything there about the government, right? Why should the government be involved in like you teaching your kids manners? And even more importantly, how does putting a timer help anybody to learn? Because all you can do is push the button, get on the swing, beep, 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 next person. You probably didn't even talk to that person. So instead of giving kids opportunities to interact with other kids and figure these things out, they're not taking that completely out and just putting a little beep, beep, beep. How are we going to create well-adjusted, nice human beings by doing this?
And even they leave the swing by the timer, those children didn't know how to share. What's the meaning of the sharing?
Sure. It's because it's a rule from the government, right?
Yeah, they just I follow the order. There's a lure told us to leave.
Sure. So, I mean, I'd like to share a little story. You know, when I was a kid, I was lucky to go to boarding school. I went when I was like 11 years old, almost 12. And in the first year there, I bought a magnifying glass. You know magnifying glass? It's like a little piece of glass and it makes things look bigger. And the one day I was playing and I discovered that you could use the sunlight to burn things. So I burnt leaves, I burnt pieces of wood, I burnt everything I could find. And I went into the room and I found one of the other boys' hockey sticks, a field hockey. So like a hockey stick, a wooden hockey stick. And I mean, I didn't burn this thing so it's like fucking like flames or anything, but I burned it a little bit, just made a little dot. And somebody saw me doing this and told this kid who was much bigger than I was. And he came looking for me. I mean, he wanted to beat me.
Huh?
And luckily he didn't. But through that experience, I really learned, hey, don't fuck with other people's property because, you know, you could get beaten pretty badly by someone. I was lucky that he didn't beat me.
Oh.
So, you know, I learned by doing. And that's way better than somebody just telling me, hey, you should respect other people's property. Because as a kid, what does that actually mean to you? But that experience meant a lot and showed me a lot.
Oh, right.
And if you think about it, and we've talked to you and I about like millennial generation and people, you know, their parents over-supervised them and overprotected them and they never had these opportunities to have situations like that. It's no wonder people battle to deal with conflict now.
Right, right.
Steve, I want to ask you a question. Like, does your daughter ever have conflict with any people, you know, any of the other kids that she interacts with?
Because my daughter is 10.
Yeah.
So I think she has learned about how to negotiate. But my son, actually, I don't think he's patient. So if when he saw the swing is not occupied, he asked me to take him to play.
Okay.
But once he started to play, 2 minutes, he would say, "I will play that one."
Oh, I see.
So I think most children most children had no patience to play so long.
Sure.
So because a lot of toys around the park and they can find another one, just play the seesaw.
So from what you're saying, it seems like there really isn't an issue from your experience, what you've seen.
Yeah, and I remember that only one conflict happened before, because that day a lot of people around the swing.
Okay.
And I think he really wanted to play and asked me to negotiate with the kid.
Okay, that's interesting. But I mean, how old is he? He's pretty young. How old is he?
My son?
Yeah.
That time is around 2.
Okay, so I mean, but 2 years old, I don't think that you're really negotiating. So getting your dad to do it, that's fine. But I mean, what about other conflicts, like for your daughter? Because she's 10, right, your daughter? So and when she comes home from school, does she ever talk about like a conflict that she might have had? You know, if she's upset with one of the other kids, how does she deal with that?
Or maybe even younger, when she's 6 or 7.
Sure, over the years, yeah.
Does she have any kind of experience?
I'm not sure, but maybe 2-3 years ago, I'd seen her to negotiate with another kid because of the swing, because I think that day the guy played around maybe over 3 minutes, over 3 minutes, and but
So you were timing?
I'm not timing, but the guy really played a long time.
Ah, I see.
And she I think my daughter cannot wait.
I see. So what did she do?
She
How did she negotiate with that?
no in the I think in the beginning she made some noise
Okay.
and say, "Hi, please stop."
And what happened?
What happened? And the guy stopped the swimming.
Oh, the guy stopped playing with the swing. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's okay because
Yeah.
I think the guy already know that
yeah, but Stephen, I mean, you're blowing my mind. How did she do this without the help of the government?
because
This is amazing.
because that time the government didn't set up any timer box.
Okay, so basically, so Abby, what I've heard from Stephen
Yeah.
today is that firstly, there didn't seem to be a real problem
Yeah.
already, and secondly, that he's already seen from his personal experience his daughter deal with this problem pretty easily.
Right.
So why are they trying to do this?
Okay. Let me share another case. I just think about it.
Sure.
Like my friends have a son and a daughter, and when they are at home, they will fight for the TV because they want to watch different cartoons. And the parents say, "I will not involve with your fight. You negotiate with yourself." So the brother told the sister, say, "Hey, I want to watch the 汪汪队, okay, the pause. How about I watch one show and we switch. You watch your and like I watch one and you watch one and we switch
take
or
turns.
take turns."
Okay.
And like so the sister say, think about it, say, "Okay." So it's a deal. Like if the brother didn't follow his deal, and the sister will fight him, will attack him. Or say, "Oh no, it's my time." They will speak up and say, "Hey, you have to follow your promise." And went so smooth. The parents didn't involve at all.
Sure.
And not only about the TV shows, but also about the bicycle. They also like
Take turns.
take turns, or they say, "How about you play this one and I play another one."
Sure,
And
but as I'm listening to this sounds so natural, right? This sounds exactly like
Yeah.
what should happen. This is how you learn for later to negotiate with adults.
That's yeah.
You
That's
build these habits,
the
right?
experience
Yeah.
that you get. Then it will tax you to when you are adult.
Sure, and that's the thing. We always talk about convenience, you and I, right? So when you have this kind of convenience, or you have somebody else coming and putting a rule, yes, it's convenient in the moment, but at the same time, long term, it has negative effects because people don't develop these abilities.
Yeah.
And like you said, that she would jump and attack him. Even if that happened, it would give those kids an opportunity to deal with violence, to learn about violence. So all these situations, teach kids a lot of lessons, and sometimes they go the right way, sometimes they go the wrong way, but they're all positive because that's how you learn about other people and how to negotiate with people. So it seems to me that this is kind of government overreach, because why should the government be interfering in kids playing in the playground? And Steve, I discussed this with you the other day, and you said something very interesting. You talked about manpower, about needing to have somebody there in the park now who's going to monitor this. Because what happens if one kid gets on, pushes the button, 3 minutes, beep, 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 and says, "Yeah, well, fuck you," and pushes it again, and beep, 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 and then what are people going to do? They'll be, "Hey, you didn't listen to the timer. Phone the cops or find the supervisor or find someone." And now someone's got to be paid to be there to enforce this.
Yeah.
And who pays for that?
Yeah.
You
How
know?
about like just the fuck off the timer?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I would do. I'd say like, yeah, beep, beep, beep. Who cares? I'm playing again.
Yeah.
Just because why should I listen to a timer? I mean, what's the repercussion? There's no repercussions there.
What did you follow there?
Yeah. So, I mean, this like government bloat, right? It must lead to a lot of other things. I think we talked about this, right?
Yep.
There's so many. What was that other example you said to me about this? I think you said something about like the government needing someone to be there. It might have been related to.
Like police?
No, I think maybe initially government had a plan to have a supervisor or is just like a manager beside the swing and teach kids how to use
The swings.
how to use the timer.
Oh, God. Yeah. And apparently the timers were really bad, right?
And when someone don't follow the rules, they would go find the manager and say, "Hey, the kids didn't follow it."
I'm not sure, but I heard someone doesn't want to follow it, and maybe the supervisor will intervene and to let the kids get off the swing. But I'm not sure because it's just I just heard.
Sure. I mean, I live near Nangang Park. Now it's pretty annoying when I walk my dog there because there's a dude who's always in the park watching for people's masks. I mean, this guy runs around and watching everybody. Like every time I see this guy, I feel guilty. Even though I've got the mask on, I feel like someone's watching. And so every park's probably got one of these guys. Now you do the timers. The guy's going to need to do that. They might need to employ a second person. But it wasn't that. I don't know if you can remember. You gave me another example, not about the swings, about something else where the government needed another person to be there or to pay a second person to enforce a rule. I don't know if you remember what it was.
Which one?
It might have been to do with getting vaccinated or something. I'm not sure, but
Someone is checking, like
someone. But if you think about it, the more government grows, the more they do this overreach, then the more people they need to enforce it, which means the higher our taxes need to go, and just the more logistics there are, the government gets bigger. And my question then is, where does this go? Because if they're telling your kids now how to have fun, they're trying to teach your kids how to have manners and how to share, what's the next thing they're going to try and teach your kids? And the next thing, and the next thing, and how far does this go? Because it seems like this is the way these things work. They do something small, and a lot of people listen to that, and they say, okay, well, it's a small thing. Then the next one happens, and then the next one happens. And I think this is probably called incrementalism, small increments of change. And if you do nothing, if you don't stand up and say something, once 10 of these small increments has happened, you're actually quite far down the road, and society starts looking quite different. But because it wasn't a big example straight away, people didn't do anything.
put the frog in a boiling water.
The frog in the water, exactly. Which is why I think that it's good what I saw this week, that people stood up and said, this is bullshit. Like, why are you trying to do this to our kids?
Yeah.
And we need to do that more. We need to stop these people believing that there's a problem when there isn't a problem, and then making us all follow them.
And yeah, I've watched the news and say, if it's really a problem, what should government do? How about they just they build up more swing? Seems like it's not enough swing. That's one way, but it's definitely not to just watch the kids' behavior with timer.
Sure.
There's another alternative ways to fix this problem.
Sure, I agree. So, Steve, do you have any final thoughts about that one? Or
Yep, I think kids have their own way to negotiate.
Yes.
So I think maybe as adults, we don't need to intervene too much.
Sure.
And yep, I think we have many ways to teach our kids how to do well, and how what's the manner and what's the good behavior. But we don't need government's power,
Yeah.
especially in something like swing.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't make sense.
Sure, and I suppose to finish off this segment, what we should do is hear from the kids.
Yeah.
Because I heard that a company went and interviewed like 100 kids. And what did the kids say? The kids are like, no, if I want to play with the swing, I'll just ask the dude to play with the swing.
That's
So the
easy,
kids
right?
themselves even don't want this and have mentioned it. So
Yeah.
it really doesn't seem to be a problem that these people are trying to fix. So yeah, that just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, what's our advice for people? Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't have time to think these things through. People are busy working. If you've got kids, Steve, you know, life is so busy. So what's our advice?
I think it's like the children learn how to negotiate with themselves. If they don't know how to do, like parents can give them advice that how do they talk to the kids.
Sure.
Just think about when you are waiting on a line or buying something, and all of a sudden another guy just like cutting the line. What will you do? You tell him, hey, you leave, you go to the back. You will not need a police to come over here to figure out your fight. Right?
Sure. And I'd add something to that. I'd say as well that even if it leads to a little bit of a negative situation, that's not bad, because the world is full of negative situations and we want our kids to learn to deal with them so later in life they don't have any issues. So even if it is a little bit negative, if there's a little bit of a disagreement, that's actually positive, not negative.
Yeah.
Steve,
right.
your advice?
If you want to make some decision for children, please be like a kid.
I like that.
Yeah, because when people make any decision for kids, it just stand like not like a kid. It just stand for adult.
So put yourself in the shoes of the kids,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I think it would be better than you just make a decision for kids as a advisor.
Okay. Good. I like that. Thank you.